For those 2 viewers watching. Yeah. Behind the scenes.
Dude, okay. Hold up. What have I done? Is the framing still correct? Framing is still correct. Perfect. We're here live on Conversations with Ethereal Rose and Mauss.
Hello.
We're going to ask Mauss all about who they are because we've been curious for quite a while now, as a matter of fact.
I guess so. That's weird to think about, actually.
And the excellent news about Mauss is if you follow Mauss on any social media platforms whatsoever, you will know that Mauss is not afraid to have an opinion, which is something that we love about them. So, all of that being said, Mauss, where are you from?
I am born, raised, and still currently live in South Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Okay, perfect. And so, what made you into the artist that you are today?
That is a very twisted question.
Yeah.
You know, like there is a lot of weight to that question.
Who inspired you? Who initially inspired you, and what brought you to become the artist that you are today?
The earliest example, like I was born into a very musical family.
Okay.
All the men in my family have autism. We are all like sound focused.
Really?
100% sound focused. You'd never know if you looked at their life, but knowing what I know now, like diagnosed, like what's the word? Prescribed for autism, like it makes total sense if you go back. Like, so my father was an audiophile, like horrible man, but an audiophile.
Okay.
The best of the best in terms of like music gear that you could get. He had the same stereo system that they used in that newer like Texas Cowboys stadium.
Okay.
It was like 5,000 watts for our like 2-bedroom like house in South Minnie.
Oh
and just like the most vintage JBLs you could buy. So like from a very early age, I'm being exposed to all the music that he likes. I have a brother. I'm exposed to all the music he likes. And my brother is the interesting one because he is a scrawny white boy in South Minneapolis running around in the 90s, and by some miracle he ended up enjoying like hip hop. Like I don't know how that happens. Like we lived in basically a suburban neighborhood. So like I'm getting exposed left and right to all of this music. And then I finally got like internet access in 2008, 2009. Like we finally got Wi-Fi. We were behind the curve because we were broke. And then like the internet was exploding at the time and I had access to YouTube. So all of a sudden I'm going for whatever CDs I can find and steal to the entire world of the internet.
The entire world of music. So were you mostly consuming like music videos on there or concert footage or?
It was more deep cut stuff because, you know, like MTV was still showing music at the time. Like
such a crazy thing that music television no longer shows music.
Yeah, it's mostly
what is happening?
What, Teen Mom or something?
Why?
Like, yeah,
I know. I'm like, trashy reality television. Yeah, seems like a great substitute to all day music videos, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Just trade one for the other.
But it was mostly like super deep cut stuff. Like how do I describe that? Like
So were you listening to like underground music at that time?
Kinda.
Or were you listening to like?
I was listening to like chiptune and like.
Really?
Yeah, because like electronic music.
Okay,
was, like,
so you went straight for electronica.
Yeah,
Like the second you discovered online music, you went straight into electronica.
Yeah, 100%.
What is the hip hop to electronica pipeline journey like?
It's actually not that far off.
How did you do it?
It's because like the most legendary drum machine of all time, the 808 for hip hop. Like 808s are all over electronic music.
Yes.
It's not just hip hop. Like I went from listening to 3-6 Mafia to like hard chiptune, like hardcore. And it was just such a natural progression. Like also dubstep was just coming out around that time too.
Yeah.
And my bass head 100%. Like everything.
Did you listen to Skrillex during that time period?
I did. I loved it. I
Because from what I understand, Skrillex started in metal and then transitioned over to electronica. And so you can really hear the elements of metal in his music. Like a lot of his electronic stuff even has like what could be easily converted into a guitar solo.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, like a bass solo, a guitar solo. He very much likes to riff in his music.
Yeah, and hardcore started around the same time. If you listen to modern dubstep now and like modern hardcore now, you'll notice the same kind of like slow, like 1, 2, 3 with like bass and guitar just going crazy. It matches up like perfectly.
Yeah. So who's the first artist that you can remember being like, holy shit, this is who I want to be like. I want to create stuff like this.
Oh, that is a very, very easy answer.
Let's hear it.
So Hotline Miami 1 came out in around 2012. That soundtrack was really cool. I had never heard anything like it. It's like the game takes place in like 1994, I believe the first one takes place.
Okay.
And it's got this like kick-ass like 80s like aerobics dance soundtrack.
Okay, like Miami Vice.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that was the whole aesthetic. It was, and at the time it was kind of a novelty. It's like, wow, this game's really cool. What an interesting soundtrack. Like, this is awesome.
Okay.
The second one came out, and that just blew the lid over.
Okay.
You
really?
Oh my God, yeah. You've got absolute bangers on that soundtrack. You've got Perturbator, Carpenter Brute, you've got Mega Drive, you've got Moon, like you've got all these different artists. And Carpenter Brute is the central most like inspiration for my current sound.
Carpenter Brute. Okay, that's incredible. And what did you start creating on? What was your first?
I told myself I've been dinking around in FL Studio for years. FL Studio had this weird like learning curve. I still really can't make anything sound good coming out of FL. Okay. I was really trying to find like the software or like something to do it, and I was flipping eggs at the restaurant with my coworker one day.
Okay.
And he was like, you know what, you need this hardware.
Okay.
I was like, well, what can it do? It's like, it's got 4 drum tracks and 2 synth tracks. All of the, like, I think that's all you need to start. And it's a Novation circuit, like the OG Novation circuit. And I'm like, oh, man, I'm broke. Like, you work here too. Like, you know how broke I am. How much is it? And he's like, you can get them used for $200. I was like, really? I will give that a shot. I will give that a shot. So I finally
ran to your local music go round.
Yeah, I met a dude in the parking lot of what was then Super America.
Yeah.
With like $200 cash in my pocket. I had just got my ass beat at work, and I was like, okay, here you go.
Dragging ass.
Yep. So I go home. I'm living in this tiny household with like 8 other people in Como.
Okay.
And they've got some speakers in the basement. And I go to like, I won't say the landlord, but like the general, like the person that we would send rent to. Hi, MJ. I'm shouting you out. I don't know if you're watching this, but I'm shouting you out. So I asked them like, hey, there's some speakers in the basement. Can I like try this thing? Like I just bought it. And I'm like, yeah, sure. And immediately I'm obsessed with this thing.
Okay.
Immediately. There are still videos on my Facebook of me playing this thing live.
Really?
Completely live, just fucking around, basically.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the very first time you tried it out, you actually like live streamed that?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I believe
that is incredibly brave.
Because I had nothing to lose. You know?
Okay, yeah.
I was broke. I believe. Yeah, me and Izzy were together at the time. Hi, Izzy.
Izzy! We love you!
She's probably watching this, honestly.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
I'll contain myself.
But I get this thing, and it's the way it works out. Like, it's a grid-based performer. So it's, you know how, like, on drum machines, you got that little line at the bottom, and you can tap in where your notes are? Kind of the same thing, but, like, smushed.
Okay.
So you'd hit drum 1, you choose what sample you want to play, and then you lay it out on the grid.
Okay.
And that, like, it was so intuitive to use. It was just like, boom, right there. Like, do I need a 4 on the floor beat? Boom, got one.
Nice.
Hit play and then go.
Can you explain why you couldn't? Sorry to like go way back to
No.
something you already said. Can you explain why you couldn't get the sounds in FL Studio to jive with you? Was it the selection?
Because I was using like stock FL 9 or 10, whatever was around for a while. 11, I forget. It just sounded cheap.
Okay, was it the sound library?
Yeah.
Because that's always been my issue with software programs is I kind of like end up dicking around with all the different sounds and like sampling all of my options and then being like, apparently I need to buy a sound pack. And then even then, trying to get everything to sound cohesive with like, well, let's use these drums with this guitar with that. I don't know.
And that's...
I can't get it to be cohesive.
Yeah.
Personally.
I look back on those times like, oh, you poor sweet summer child, just learn how to mix. Like, you know, like if I had FL now, I'm sure I could put something out that sounds cohesive, and plenty of people do. But after you know messing around with the circuit for a while, I re-downloaded Ableton because I got a cracked copy. I ain't paying for that shit. Fuck that.
Allegedly, for entertainment purposes only.
In Minecraft, yeah. But yeah, I started playing around with Ableton. Ableton had a much more intuitive workflow. The things that came out of it just sounded.
Okay.
And I'm not sure why.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I'm really not sure.
Because I have taken many Ableton courses, and boy, oh boy, whew, the learning curve on that for me, I must just not have the brain that is compatible with it. But I have taken so many Ableton lessons. I've spent stupid amounts of money trying to understand Ableton, and I've finally gotten to the point where I'm like, well, I guess we won't be using Ableton.
Yeah, I get it.
I guess we won't be using it.
Once money started coming in for me, like I bought different pieces of gear. What has worked has stayed with me. What hasn't worked has gone out. The push came to me, and it was very good. The Ableton Push 1.
Oh my gosh, I wanted to. Oh yes,
it's very good, but the workflow didn't jive with me.
Okay.
That's why I just went back to the Novation circuit over and over and over again.
And that was what you found the most flow with? It started to flow for you?
Yes.
Okay, and then, so what was your first release? Like, what body of work did you release first?
So, I was talking around with my friends, and I was like, well, what can I do? Like, I want to play live.
Okay.
I don't know if I'd be a good performer. I want to play live. Like, I'm posting, like, acid jams and stuff, like, on SoundCloud, I think, like, ancient SoundCloud footage. And then one guy just messaged me out of nowhere. He's like, hey, I'm friends with your coworker. He says you're, like, a synthesizer player? And I was like, yeah, I do crazy stuff. You want to listen? And he was like, holy shit, I think I have a perfect stage for you.
Really?
Yeah. It must have been, like, what's the month before April?
March.
March.
No, that's good.
It was in, like, March of 2019, I want to say. And it was at, what was it called before the Nomad Pub?
Oh my gosh.
Part Wolf.
Wow.
So I got
the fact that you can remember that.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I got a midday show at Part Wolf.
Okay.
And like a couple of people were there. It was like 6 people. And I just do this 45-minute set of like some crazy acid jams. Okay. Like I've got 4 drum tracks and 2 synth tracks.
Okay.
I've got, I think I had one for chords and then one for this crazy 303 bass.
Yeah.
And I just killed it. Like it was super simple at the time. It was just a couple of loops, but like there are knobs on the circuit that you can tweak while you play. Okay. And I hop off that stage, sweaty as shit. It was like 70 degrees outside, so it was like 95 in there on stage. Okay. And I hop off stage, and everyone's just like, "What the fuck was that?" And then I go, "Yeah, this is a Novation circuit. It runs on batteries." And they're like, "You did that shit on batteries?"
You didn't have to plug in? That's incredible.
What?
That's incredible.
And the organizer, Paul, I love Paul. Paul, I'll send this to you. He was like, "Yo, I see something here. I'm gonna keep you in my back pocket forever."
because you introduced everyone to a genre that day.
Mhm.
And that's the thing with electronic music. I mean, the amount of subgenres is endless.
Yeah.
Absolutely endless. I mean, every time I think that I know what all the subgenres are, somebody else comes to me and they're like, oh yeah, I do this. And I'm like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
So it's like, and even going through Beatport, like selecting
yeah.
songs for DJing, and I'm like going through the genres and subgenres and all of the like Beatport staff picks, especially. I'm like, what the hell is this? And how is there no end to the amount of subgenres in electronic music? So you probably, blew their mind in that way because they've probably never even come close to touching that genre ever before in their entire life.
100%.
So you blew their whole world wide open. It's, certain rooms I have such a hard time playing. It's interesting. Every time I've been to, this is going to sound so stupid.
No.
This is going to sound so stupid. Every time I've been to the Nomad, I've been like, you know what? I fucking hate drum sets.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
I hate drum
too.
sets. And it's so weird because that was my segue into electronic music is I was playing with metal bands, like metal and grunge and punk and subgenres of that. And every time I was like standing in front of a drum set, singing into a microphone, and the crash is just like, and don't get me wrong, I have all of the like expensive earplugs that they're musician earplugs that they only let in the lower range sounds and they take the clangy treble out of everything and make it so that you can still hear your own voice while you're singing X, Y, and Z. And I've done the inner monitors and all of that shit. And I'm just like, I fucking hate the sound of drum sets. I hate them. I hate it.
All of that gear you just mentioned, they are made for like big stage performers where the drum set is
back
25
there.
feet behind you.
Back there, please. Behind the curtain. Like, and even, I went and saw one of my personal idols, Ghostmane, play at the Fine Line. Sorry, I didn't mean to like, nothing against the Nomad, by the way. It's just a very like bare space as far as like the actual textiles that are used in the space. And so anything that hits the wall is like hitting your ear. It's like, bam, bam. The acoustics of that room, it's like, if you didn't bring earplugs, you're just going to suffer. You're just going to suffer.
It's also closed, so you don't feel bad about it.
Oh, did they close?
Yeah,
okay, that's right. That's right. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to like, one of my rules of my show is I'm trying really hard not to talk shit. And like, and if I do need to talk shit, I'm trying to speak in generalities and not name names.
Well, closed menus are open for discussion.
The Nomad was fun. But the acoustics of that fucking room, oh my God, ouch, ouch, ouch. But I went to see Ghostmane play at the Fine Line. And one of the things he did, which, by the way, like his live show was so fucking different than I expected it to be. It is incredible. But he dresses kind of in a Marilyn Manson type way, which for some reason I wasn't expecting. I don't know why I did not have that on my bingo card, my Ghostmane bingo card.
Yeah, he kind of like drifted into that as time went on.
He was fully fucking dripped out in goth gear, head to toe, like full face of makeup. I was just like, oh, okay, we're going all the way there. I mean, I've always like perceived him as a gangster rapper for whatever reason. Like, I guess that's just his sound. But he put his drummer and the drum set and all of his instrumentalists behind an enormous velvet curtain. So you're getting like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they're linked. They're being run through the soundboard and they're being placed out into the speakers in a way that is like perfectly balanced. And it's not just like crash cymbal. You know what I mean? Like he softened his sound so that his vocal could be at the forefront of the performance. Yeah. And I appreciated that so much. And I was like, you know who else? Maynard. Like Maynard's another one who will like, put things behind curtains and actually like soften the sounds that don't need to be right in your face. And I appreciate people like, I'm sure you, especially as an AV person, like, especially someone who's like putting together this total picture and like controlling every separate little element.
Yes.
Like you're painting a total picture, and you don't want one thing just like dominating the
Yes.
entire performance.
It's all about vibes, people.
It's all about
It's
vibes.
all about vibes. You should be able to know what a show is about by walking in the front goddamn door.
Okay. Okay.
That's what a show should be about.
I have to ask you, what do you want people to feel when they experience your music live?
So this is actually, this was burning in the back of my brain, actually. This is the perfect time to discuss this. I actually have so many pseudonyms for my different music projects. So
yes.
The first one and most popular one, weirdly enough, I don't know why people aren't coming out for my more original stuff. I am DJ Nizumi. I do house, dub, funk, everything under the sun. If it's funny, even like I at the last Neon Night, I did like this huge joke Omni Man fucking song, and that was great. Yeah. And then my dark heavy shit, I will call it cyberpunk, is Anthropomancer. It's a bit of a mouthful. Anthropomancer is by far my favorite set that I do. Like I put on like a trench coat with like a back patch on
yes.
it. Like I've got videos to accompany stuff.
Is that like a character?
Yes.
Is that a character for you? That is that I love that character.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can talk about them more in depth.
Yeah.
After my little spiel here.
Also, I love the graphics that you make for that.
Oh, thank you.
Go ahead.
I do my best. And then I've got Werkstatt, which is German for workstation. I've only done one set as that pseudonym, but I've got like an hour-long album I've been cooking. There just hasn't been a show appropriate for that alias. Did I do any other ones? Those are the three main ones, I think.
Why have you chosen to separate your music into those different titles?
Because they are such strong artistic pillars, I think.
Okay.
It would be really weird if the guy with glowing red LEDs on his face and a trench coat started spinning deep house.
Okay.
So, like, I like to separate these personas based on what they put out into the world.
Okay.
So, like, Nizumi, now I wear the white suit and I've got glowing glasses that I wear. The Daft Punk thing is true, people. If you wear a mask or something like funny on your head, people will listen to you more. I'm sorry. It's just true. Like,
it's so true.
If it weren't true, people would stop doing it, but they keep doing it. Marshmallow, for example. Deadmau5, for example. Like, if you put something goofy on your head while you're performing music, it will work. And then, like...
That is the number one piece of advice that I have received as someone who makes music. Yeah. My friend Jace, she's told me so many times over and over again, she's like, you need a consistent character.
Yeah. Be
she even told me, like, down to my hair. She was like, be consistent with your hairstyle even. Like, they can't separate you from these different looks.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So make it consistent.
What people will say, they'll go to your show as your character, and then they'll come out. They'll talk to their friends, like, hey, where were you last night? Oh, I was at this show and yada yada. And I saw this person with like glowing fucking shit on his face. And like his trench coat glows in the dark. Like that was pretty cool. So then they're like, oh shit, I want to see that. So if I show up without the trench coat one day, they're like, oh there's a trench coat.
Yeah. You know? But what do you so do you have a separate answer for each of these characters as far as what you want people to feel when they're experiencing your music?
I believe I do, yes. Not so much for Werkstatt because, like I said, only like one show as Werkstatt.
Okay.
But like for DJ Nizumi, that's just my general DJ name. You know, I want people to feel the usual, like, okay, there's music, I want to dance, stuff like that.
Okay.
I also want people to hear things that they might not hear. You know?
Yeah.
Like, the perfect example, I was doing a house show at Akeomecon last year.
Okay.
I was just like, I was in the room, they were just doing a bartender thing, and I was just background music.
Okay.
As the night went on and people got more drunk, I was like, let's take some risks here. And I dropped hard UK dub on a bunch of weeaboos dressed as like cats and like anime girl bunny maids.
Surprise!
Yeah, surprise. and the whole room started jumping.
Really?
The whole
That's
room.
incredible.
It was incredible, and it was unexpected. So like that's kind of what I want Nezumi to be. I want like the head snap moment of like, hey yo, whoa,
Yeah.
hey yo.
And also, I think people like depend on musicians to be at the leading edge of what they want to introduce into the culture next too. Like I think we're kind of leaders in that way.
In a way,
not to pat us on the back or anything like that, but I think we're kind of the ringleaders when it comes to that, because it's like, yes, let me put you on game to like this new stuff that's like blowing my mind. You know, it kind of helps lead the culture of music. So what's your ultimate vision for your music? What would, like, in an ideal world, what are you striving towards? As an artist?
I want more guerrilla venues. I want more people to do more things. Like I want that old school Detroit shit. You know, it's like, hey, my buddy bribed the police. They're not gonna come tonight. I got a buddy who's got a generator. He's gonna drag it in here. Like we got a cable for it. Like I'm setting up this gigantic sound system in this warehouse.
Oh my gosh.
No one's gonna fuck with it. Like we got people patrolling the crowds for security. We got people handing out water. That's what I want.
You have me thinking about Straight Outta Compton. And when I saw that in theaters, I was like, I had no idea they went through so much to bring us this music.
That's music history right there. Yeah. That is a fantastic movie.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the fact that so much music has had to be driven underground in order to like get its start in the rave scene and all of that too, because of, because it doesn't always jive with legal activities. But I feel like it's always like part of the culture. It's built in.
It kind of has to be.
Yeah.
It kind of has to be, because it's a counterculture to begin with.
Yeah.
Like in no other world could you show up with tits out, like harness on, like big boots, like, and have everyone just go, hell yeah, like come on in.
Yeah.
Like, nowhere else in the world, and that's why I like rave culture so much.
Okay. And so, like, what are the biggest roadblocks for you so far in like achieving your ultimate vision that you have for your music? What's standing in your way?
The obvious one is money. But I think it does go deeper than money in Minneapolis. Like, yeah, I could buy a bunch of speakers. I could buy a bunch of power. I could buy a bunch of lights and lasers. I could pay people to come in and operate them.
Yeah.
All of that stuff. But my biggest problem so far has been venues.
Really?
Yeah. It's like, sometimes, like, the sound person isn't nice and I'm fighting with them.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, that venue's still open. I can't talk about that one. But like, sometimes it's just like, hey, we've got a noise ordinance that we can't be loud. It's, well, why are you hosting live music? And then,
oh my gosh, that one drives me absolutely batshit crazy. I'm not going to name the venue. I am going to say that it's on the West Bank. I'm not going to say anything further than that. But oh my gosh, if you are playing the music at like radio in the corner levels, why am I on a stage right now? I'm so confused. Sorry, go ahead.
No, we're good. And
little rant.
Like you run into those problems of these venues. Like sometimes it's like no one shows up. Like we promoted the shit out of this. We put it on Facebook. We got a bunch of hits on Facebook. Just didn't work out. Whatever.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like I don't even know where I would play this kind of set. Like that doesn't track, which is one of the reasons we started Neon Night, so everyone can get their fair due.
Yeah, and you know what? That's another thing too. Is like creating the spaces that don't exist yet in the Minnesota scene, because it's interesting. Like a lot of the local radio stations, I mean, even them, they're not quite crossing over into electronica yet. Yeah. And it's so strange trying to build a scene that doesn't yet exist.
Yeah.
And all the guerrilla marketing that kind of has to happen in order for that to go down. I mean, knowing marketing is it's such a niche thing. I really feel like if I come into some money with music at any point, that is the first thing I'm hiring out. Somebody who really knows how to draw attention to something and how to really streamline the marketing so that you get specifically who you want. So yeah, like what are the other ways that you think it could be improved? I mean, what does the electronica music scene need that it's not getting right now? Attention, funding, like, I don't know, what's the move? How do we get Minnesota's electronica scene especially to no longer be like flyover country?
Right. That's a very good question. My approach to it, my like brain off, not thinking about it approach to it, is to just bring people more. I want like I bought this funky little light that spits out lasers and it's got like a disco ball inside of it. Corny by any other measure. But I also bought a hazer. It's a slow fog machine. The fog doesn't just dissipate after it comes out of the machine, hangs in the air. That's how you're able to see laser beams as they cross to their destination. That's a huge improvement right there.
Creating atmosphere.
Atmosphere. People walk in, they see lights hanging in the air. Like
you are so right.
Some of the venues that we perform at do have moving headlights. So you will see like slow beams crossing of and reacting to the music, and they go, "Wow, I paid $16 for this. This is dope."
Yeah, creating that light show, creating that environment that creates exactly what you said. It's all about vibes. Creates that vibe.
It's all about vibes. I do think Minneapolis has a greater problem though in exposure. I don't know what it is about this city. I think it has to do with being, Prince's town. Like, hard to be a music icon in Prince's town. I'm gonna tell you that.
Okay.
Because I also go to very, very large like EDM events at. I think I can name this one because I have no problems with this venue. Armory. Armory is fantastic.
Oh,
they do.
I was just there.
Yeah, it's great. Armory does very good EDM shows.
They really do.
And they draw huge crowds as well. And I'm not sure why we can't capture that crowd for smaller events. I think it has something to do with, like, it can't be cost because those fucking tickets are expensive as shit.
Yeah.
But, like, it has to do with some community aspect, I think.
Somebody who is running sim shows needs to let us take them out to lunch and pick their brain.
I would love that.
We know what the hell to do.
I've been trying to connect with them so long. If you're watching this, please talk to me. Please.
In fact, it's kind of funny because whatever. I'm like a total brainiac when it comes to. I just listen to thought leaders online like all the time on YouTube because I'm like, well, rich people know something that I don't, so I'm just gonna fucking listen to them until I understand these formulas. And it's so interesting. One of the main things that I hear them say is they're like, you probably know who is successful in the area you want to be successful in, and you've never offered to take them to lunch and ask them to give you advice on how to start building this business and like what the first steps were that they took and all of that stuff. And I've been watching this sim shows guy lately.
Yeah.
I've been watching all of his social media, and he takes tickets to the next big show that's coming up. He takes them to Mall of America and all of these different like public places, and he'll hide it behind a sign somewhere. And he's like, somebody's gonna find these tickets. Who's it gonna be? Like he like gamifies, scoring tickets to these shows, and like it really accrues a ton of interest.
That is just fantastic promotion.
It is. Like, it's so engaging, and everybody wants to like go on a scavenger hunt for like concert tickets to a show that they already want to go to. That's like, whatever, kind of above their price range or in a range where they're like, yeah, I'd definitely rather score those tickets than have to buy them. So it's like, I don't know, I'm kind of watching some of his strategies, and I know that Sim Shows is also working with North Loop Studios to host all of their afters. And like the tickets to the afters are like in the $35 range. Like it's doable, you know what I mean? And so it's like when you leave that concert, because everybody's had that experience where they're leaving a concert and they just don't want that fun to end. Yeah, and you're just like, no, I just went to the most inspirational concert of my entire freaking life. there's no way that this is over. My heart is glowing. Like there's adrenaline coursing through my veins.
I
Like
need that afters.
Let's go.
And the afters is the perfect place for lesser known local musicians to hop up there and do their thing, whether it be musicians or DJs.
Yes.
So I've been hard focusing on DJing, mostly because it's easier to accrue a crowd.
Okay.
Like my crowd for the Anthropomancer set usually goes nutty, but it takes a minute to get them there. You know, like I couldn't drag. Like I've got so much gear for that set. Like I've got a gigantic rifle case with all my.
It looks heavy too.
It's fucking heavy. It's like 70 pounds.
Yeah.
So like having to drag that out to a show where like, let's say Subtronics, for example. Like if Subtronics were to come here and I got booked to do the afters for an Anthropomancer set, that crowd's leaving. Like I can't. I would not be able to pull that out anywhere else but Neon Night for right now. At least I don't think so.
Okay.
But if I were DJing, I think I could do it.
I think you're underestimating Anthropomancer. I do. Oh. Because it's the perfect build.
Yeah.
Anyone who loves synthwave knows that like it takes time. It takes time to like really start like get yourself on that rhythm. But once you're there, it's like you are locked in.
Yeah.
Like I love some of the more like I love how dynamic Anthropomancer is too. Like I love how there are clear like crescendos in the music. There's clear moments where it's like you almost become this like orchestral conductor of the music.
I'm glad someone noticed that because that is actually the entire point of that set.
Yeah.
So I went into it with the ethos of like a video game music design.
Okay.
And I actually applied at VGMCon, but they denied me. So
aww.
Next time, guys.
Come on, VGMCon.
I know, right? But that was the entire point. Like I want there to be a journey that the main character, the trenchcoat guy, like I want that to be his journey. Like it's different parts, it's different levels of the video game. You know, like, and that's how I wrote it.
Wow.
There are leitmotifs in it as well. I actually thank Undertale by Toby Fox for like inspiring that kind of writing. So like you'll hear this little tune, like you'll hear just like a single little lead rhythm.
Yeah.
But then I'll use it in another song, but I'll fuck with it a little bit. Like suddenly it's in a minor key. Okay. Suddenly it's in a minor second key. Sometimes it's in Phrygian. Like
people go crazy for key changes.
Yes. It's stuff like that. Yep. Like that's how I draw that in. And so thank you for noticing.
Absolutely. So what do you think people don't understand about you? And what do you think people don't understand about your music?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Now we're digging into the emotions. I'm very task focused. Okay. I'm very like I'm on the job, you know, like especially if I'm performing, especially like even sometimes when I'm like on the way here, I was like, let's go, like headphones on, like boom.
Can I just say that musicians showing up on time for something is something that never, ever happens. Like when I say a time, I fully expect you to arrive 30 to 45 minutes after that time. Mauss here showed up 15 minutes early on the dot, like a freaking Marine.
Punctuality is very important.
I was shocked. So, I saw my phone ringing and I went to the window and I'm like, no way. No way.
I saw your face through the window. You're like,
I was like, what? I was like, that's gotta be Amazon because there's no freaking way that this is a music artist 15 minutes early to an interview. Like there's no chance.
I do try my best.
Zero chance.
There are two things with that actually. there is some backstory to why I'm always early.
Please,
one,
do tell.
Very militaristic family growing up.
Really?
Very military.
Really?
Yes. If on time is early, or what is that saying? Early is on time. On time is late. Late means you're fired.
Okay. Well, then I'm definitely fired because I have shown up so stinking late to some of the Neon Night shows. I feel so bad.
The thing is, Neon Night's kind of a fuck it affair anyway, so it's like even if you show up late, like
I'm always having a crisis over my hair and what I'm wearing.
Yeah, I
That's it. That's all it
I
is.
understand.
I'm like, I'm bloated. Fuck it. Maybe
Yeah,
I should go.
Yeah, I get that.
It's stupid. But yeah.
Yeah, the second thing with that is the more time I have to like psych myself out, because I have horrible social anxiety. I don't even know how I'm doing this right now, but I
Really?
think I'm pulling it off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I'm not picking up on that on
thank
your
you.
anxiety at all.
But like I have horrible social
Good job.
anxiety. And it's gotten easier over the years with performing, but like that first show, I believe you were on that first show, like that first Neon night that we did.
Yeah.
That was like 2 years ago.
Okay,
now,
yes. I know exactly what you're talking
yeah,
about.
you were the opener. That show, I was like sitting in the green room, like,
oh no.
shit, yeah.
I also have stage fright, but mine is I call it first note stage fright.
Oh yeah.
I play the first note and it's boom,
Yep.
we're cruising.
Yep, you're into that persona
But
now. You're doing it.
every freaking second leading up to like the first note is like,
Yep.
what if they don't get it?
Yeah.
What if I get booed off the stage? Like, yeah.
Which thankfully we have great audiences. We like
so much.
Even if there are technical issues, people are still clapping.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. Thank you.
And you know what? The thing to remember when you're in any crowd in like any Minnesota venue, I'm sorry, but like 50% of the people in the room are also artists.
Yeah, exactly.
Like if there's one thing I've learned networking in this city, you are in the same room as other musicians everywhere you go, no matter what. I mean, the long winters of Minnesota have created so many artists here.
Yes.
That is a huge part of why I even put together this show, is because there are so many just unknown names here that absolutely deserve to be known. And I'm so sick of Minnesota being flyover country. This place is incredible as far as the artistry that is available here in every genre. It's a shame that more people aren't aware of the local artists here.
It does not matter what day you are here. Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It does not matter the month you are here. It does not matter the weather. There is always an artist playing within a mile of you.
Yeah.
No matter what.
True.
It doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. Everyone here is an artist. I wish there were less singer-songwriter artists in the Twin Cities, actually.
Okay.
I want more interesting shit.
Okay.
Like, yeah, you sound good.
You're
However,
not feeling the acoustic stuff, or what's up?
No, I love acoustic stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, there are 7 million people who also play acoustic guitar with their wife on stage. Like, I've seen it a million times. We live in 2025. There are more synthesizers. There are more drum machines. There are more looper pedals. There are more crazy effects than you could ever.
Oh my gosh!
I want to see some interesting shit.
Okay, speaking of like husband-wife duos, have you heard of the? I personally was just introduced to them myself. I can't even take credit for this. Have you heard of the husband and wife duo Buried Alive, spelled like berries?
I have not.
Berried.
I think I've seen the name floating around, but I don't think I've seen them.
Okay, like fasten your seatbelt, because go on YouTube and fuck with Buried Alive. I said
I wasn't going to take my phone out, but I got to take my phone
I
out.
am shocked. I mean, and you can hear that this man, that both of them, you can hear that this couple was clearly influenced by video game music. I mean, if you're into chiptune, if you're into chiptune, you're gonna go crazy over this stuff.
I have seen this guy. Yeah, he does Instagram reels.
The music is so intricate and it's insane. Okay, so I have to ask you this, because I had no idea that you came from like a really structured militant background. So does that affect your process at all?
100%.
Okay, so in a bad way or in a good way? Because
bit of both. It took a long time to move past all that like harshness, and I'm still like, my self-esteem is negative at this point. I do not have good self-esteem as a rule. So that does affect my process and my perfection. Okay. I'm like, I'm sending this out to a bunch of people. Is this ready? I don't think it is, Mauss. Like, you need to double down and back on it. And that's everything. Like, when I was leaving the house, I was like, all right, it's 12:30 on the dot. I grab my keys, 12:34, I leave. See, I'll exit the door. If shit's wiggity down that way of the street, I will cross the street. I have to go that way. That's Marine Corps,
the
baby.
perfectionism will absolutely strangle you to death, and you know that, don't you? And also, I come from military background, unfortunately, as well. My dad was military police, and then he was a general, and now he's in prison. So
war crimes, baby.
Yeah. So who the fuck is laughing now? But and then the wicked step witch, who shan't be named, was a mechanical engineer for U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. So. Military. It was just hammered into me, and my nature, and I don't know if you can relate to this, but my nature, I am 1000%. My soul came to this earth as a creative.
Yes,
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been staring at the clouds, dreaming, fantasizing. You know, I mean, I've been creating in dreamscapes for longer than I can freaking remember. Like. That is my true nature. That's who I've always been. My thinking is super abstract. I can't fit things into boxes. I don't do well with separating the genres even. I'm not good at separating my artistry at all. Everything that's going on in here is a blend of literal just dreams upon dreams, like layered on top of each other, and truthfully, it's probably why I can't get it off the ground, is because I lack that structure. Yeah. And that's why I have to hire out those parts of the artistry, is like, please structure this for me. Yeah. But
venues are kind of supposed to get you there too, you know, like you're supposed to roll in with what you got, and then the venue makes it work.
Exactly. Like we do our half, they do theirs with the marketing and all of that stuff. But it sucks that has to be such a roadblock. You know what I mean? Like perfectionism at the end of the day. I heard in an interview that I was listening to one time, somebody said, and it struck me. They said, perfectionism is just insecurity.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep.
And that fucked me up, but then it set me free. You know how they say the truth is going to piss you off, but then it's going to set you free? Mm-hmm. That was that moment for me. I was like, you know what? This is a cage of my own design. This is a prison of my own making. Like, I'm the only person who can set myself free from this. How are you trying to break out of that prison of perfectionism?
So what I do is I give myself restraints.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, if we use that cage analogy, let's say I'm not trapped in the cage is there and I'm holding the key.
Okay.
What if I open the cage, still with the key in my hand, and close that door? I still have the key. I can leave that cage whenever I want. However, I am going to work within that cage. I do that all the time. And one of the reasons I do Dallas gear for Anthropomancer, it's because I have to work with the limitations of that gear.
Okay.
Like the micro freak that I use on the side of it, fantastic instrument. Thank you, Arturio. The micro freak that I use on the side can only play 4 notes in polyphonic mode. That's not a lot. 4 notes is not a lot.
That's very limiting.
So I've got 4 notes or I've got monophonic.
Okay.
Like I can do some crazy shit with that, but like I can't play those huge, like blisteringly huge 80s chords like I like. Okay. All right, well, Novation Circuit should handle the chords then, because that can do up to 6. That can do up to 6 notes. I can do 6 notes. 6 notes will give me that effect. The bass station on the side, that can only do 1 note forever. I can technically get 2 out of it. I can only do 1 note. But like, so I have to work with these limitations, and then from there, like that's where the music writing comes in.
So the compartmentalization of this hardware does this task, that does that task.
Yeah.
Is that what's actually like driving everything forward? Is like giving yourself those parameters is actually like guiding the process more?
I believe so. Yes.
Instead of your energy being scattered all over the place and you being like, okay, so what's next? What's next? Like, how do I build this soundscape out? Is that what you're doing with that strategy?
Yeah. And like I'm letting the limitations break the cage as opposed to me leaving the cage, you know?
Interesting.
Yeah. So
interesting.
What's a good example of this? So one time on the Micro Freak, I'll say this a little bit, and then you can ask.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, we're good. So like, let's say I sample a chord from the Micro Freak. Like I've got all 4 notes.
Okay.
All right, sounds good. I'll sample that and throw it right back in, and then I'll stack it even more. Then I'll sample it right back in. Like it sucks. I wish I could just play more notes, but I can get that effect with a little bit of work.
So what is the like first step in your process? And I mean like the step before the first step. I mean, are you dreaming up entire songs on your own first and then figuring out how to channel them through
this is a
these
good,
devices or?
Yeah, this is a really good question because like I never think of the music first. It's always an image. It's always like an image or an action or like a movie scene that I think of first. Like I've got one of my harder hitting songs as Anthropomancer. It's like this 150, 160 BPM, just like wham, 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 wham,
Yeah.
and like the synths are going crazy. The reason I wrote that song is because I imagined this character with the trench coat. He's got a Sandevistan from Cyberpunk. It lets you slow down time.
Okay.
So he's badass. Like this dude's badass. And then he's got a bunch of these like cyberpunk police coming at him down a hallway.
Okay.
So I was like, I need a fucking theme for him shredding these guys to bits, and that's where that music comes from.
Okay. That makes so much more sense now.
Yeah.
That makes so much more sense now. You're condensing the powers that this character contains into a soundscape.
Yes.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. You know what? It's so interesting. So many musicians and artists that I meet are at their core primarily like storytellers.
Yeah.
And that's just so different from the process that I've always worked. And so it's fascinating getting to know what the first step in that process is. So you're dreaming up the character, and are you dreaming it up as like a POV? Like, are you inside of the character Anthropomancer while you're creating the soundscape for his theme song?
Yes and no. Like
Okay.
everything is from his perspective. He's the main character.
Yeah.
I when I finally released this album, which is going to be like 2 hours long, by the way.
Oh wow.
Because like
good job.
As the sets were rolling in, I was like, "Fuck, I gotta make new music
That's
for this."
quite the undertaking.
Boom. Like I wanted to include like a proper novel. Like,
Okay.
I have written all this stuff down. Josh, who was on the show earlier, he
Color in Reverse?
Yes, Color in
Okay.
Reverse, my boy. He was like, "Can you tell me like about the set?" And I sent him like a fucking 4-page essay on the world and the characters and all of this shit. He was like, "You didn't have to do that."
But that's awesome that you have it.
So like I want to put people in this world. I want
Yeah.
them to see what's up here, and that's super difficult. And I think that's an autism thing. I really do. Like
That's awesome. Though.
expressing myself and what's in my head has always been extremely difficult, and I want music to drive that.
I have to say that the movie RoboCop is just
Yes.
playing
Yes.
in my head
Yes.
while you're speaking.
Imagine RoboCop, but more violent and LEDs.
More violent than RoboCop.
Rave RoboCop. That's what this world is. It's Rave RoboCop.
Okay, so ultimate violence, because RoboCop, I mean, granted, the first time I saw it, I was way too young to be viewing anything of that nature. I'm like still mad about that because I'm like so traumatized by that movie.
Remember when he shot that dude in the dick?
I must have blocked that one out.
Oh my
I'm
God.
really good at blocking out things that are too much. But the part that I remember most clearly is the guy walking into the conference room
Oh yeah.
with the gun arms and literally just that moment is like burned into my brain because nobody in that room stood a chance.
Yeah.
You can't scatter, you can't hide behind anything, you're doomed at that point. And like the feeling of doom that came with that scene is like permanently burned into my psyche.
Yeah.
And I would like to erase that memory.
Yeah. I love RoboCop though.
but no, like the aesthetic of RoboCop and also just the like brutality of the characters.
Yes.
And humanity that is stripped from the character that doesn't come full circle until the very like the total the summary of the plot at the very end of the movie. It's just such brutality that those characters are existing under, and they did such a good job of actually like conveying that in the film. And so that's interesting that you see the scene first and then you convey it in the soundscape. I'm actually fascinated by your process.
Oh, thank you.
So does any of it come to you in dream time, or is this all like waking?
Absolutely. Like, this is the stuff I think about as I'm trying to go to bed. Because like that's where the ideas come from. It's kind of the Freddie Mercury approach, who would keep a keyboard laying next to him as he fell asleep.
Okay.
It's kind of like that. Like,
I didn't even know Freddie Mercury did that. That's awesome.
Yeah. That's what he would do. He would dream of like chord progressions and stuff. And he'd be like, that's a good idea. I should write that down.
Yep. I can't tell you how many voice memos I have like that. I wake up from a dream and I sing it into my voice memo right away.
Yeah. Yep. I used to do that quite a bit too.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, and like at this point, it's like a multimedia project. The music is first and foremost because that's what I want to put out to people. Like, I've got a whole world. Like, I could tell you this whole story. Like who the character is, who his friends are, what's going on in the world. Like,
are you going to channel it into a different medium at any point and turn it into a series or animate it at any point?
I would
what are you
love
thinking?
to get an animator on it. However, animators are like $200 an hour for their work.
Oh, true. Okay.
And you know, my dream is that it pops off one day. I get on the right stage at the right time, and then suddenly people want to make fan art. People want to make fan animation.
Don't forget that with AI, you can you can take these storylines, plug it in, and have it produced for you even.
Yes, and for a while there, like for a good while, generative AI was used quite heavily for both my marketing and like all of the references. Like I can show you like so much AI footage of this character, of the world that he lives in.
Okay.
However, there's been this gigantic push against generative AI.
Okay.
And like yeah, I don't like giving a corporation like all of this stuff just to spit out slop and stuff like that. I do hand edit every AI piece that comes back to me.
Okay.
And like I want to pay regular real artists to like give me reference art for this character to like just some cool marketing shit. Like I want to see this dude like jumping over a barrier shooting a pistol, you know, like that's the cool shit.
Yeah.
Like I went through this stretch where I was like reaching out to all my artist friends, like, hey, like name your price, like name your hourly rate, like get this. I got ghosted by so many people.
Really?
I got ghosted by like 8 people in a row.
Wow. I'm surprised people aren't jumping on freelance work like that.
Right. And
that's wild.
And that surprised me, and that's what pushed me towards AI. It's like, I used to do visual art. I am by no means a good visual artist. I'm great with Photoshop, but I pen and pencil, like I do it for fun.
Okay.
Like I just throw tags everywhere and shit.
Yeah.
That's all I do with it.
Okay. So what are the next steps for you, like in your artistry?
Oh man, next steps.
What are you working on right now that you're really inspired about?
Well, I've been like listening to dubstep quite a bit. Like I've been going throwback for it. Like it's just really like I just like having my head rattle with my headphones. Yeah. So like I wanted to dip my toe into that a little bit. Like I downloaded Vital again as a synthesizer, VST. And it knocks. Like I really want to try some of that production. As far as Anthropomancer goes, I haven't had a set for him since like September, I want to say. So I haven't really been cooking on that. I've been focusing on the DJ stuff. I think the next thing for Anthropomancer is just more media.
Okay.
Just more media. Either getting that album out, doing like a big album release party. Something more, You know, like
Yeah.
you see these huge EDM shows, lasers go crazy, visuals go crazy, visuals are reacting to the music. That's what I want, but for a different type of electronic music.
Yes. You know what? I feel like I should introduce you to Frank TC. Wait, do you already know Frank TC? Okay. I'm going to introduce you to Frank TC because they're building their own, like, I mean, they're hosting shows themselves. He's actually the one who put me on to the Hotel Minnesota show.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and those guys are like buying up, new and improved equipment and like really creating beautiful shows in gorgeous rooms. I mean, they're creating atmosphere. You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, I wonder if they could host your album release party. I mean, especially if you're releasing a 2-hour body of work,
Yeah.
you better freaking make a big deal out of that.
Right.
That should be a bigger deal than your freaking birthday because
Right.
seriously, so much goes into releasing that amount of content. So where do you want people to follow you online? Where is the best place to follow you for the best updates?
So I've got 2 main socials. I don't have any like business accounts on Facebook or anything. I do have an Instagram, and that is @Mauss3rd, all one word, all lowercase.
Okay.
The second place you can follow me is DJ_Nazumi.
Wait, sorry. MAUSS, the third.
Actually, it's MOUSETHETHIRD for the Instagram.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, we're good. MAUSS, that's just my actual name. So we're good.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, that's
Oh
my
God.
middle name. So my name before me and Izzy got married was Quentin Kyle Jones.
Seriously?
Yeah, I did not fuck with the name Kyle. I was like, oh, let's get that shit out. So when we got married, they were like, oh, you want to change your name? It's free. And I was like, oh, yeah. Oh, let's go.
You're kidding. You're
No,
kidding. That's
no.
amazing. Did you drop your middle name
Yeah,
entirely?
Yeah, I fucking hated that name. Because
That's
it was a
amazing.
meme. It was a meme at the time too. It was like, all right, Kyle, go punch some drywall.
Yes,
you know?
it is.
Uh,
Yes, it is.
fucking-
Trevor Wallace does a great Kyle impersonation. Please watch. I'm sending it to you the second this is over.
fuck,
Okay, tell us
bro.
where else we're supposed to be following you. Nazumi, you were
Yep.
mentioning?
DJ_Nazumi at Instagram. That is specifically for my DJ sets. I am all over the place. Like, how would I describe it? I mix oil and water when I DJ. I do everything. It all depends on who books me and where I'm performing at. I do hip hop, I do dub, I do trap, I do EDM. Doesn't matter. Follow me there for specific events. Where else can you follow me? You can hit up Anthropomancer's Bandcamp. That is ANTHROPOMANCER.bandcamp.com. I've got a couple of EPs released of live sets that I've done, and
Are there any shows coming up right now?
not currently.
Okay,
I
not
don't
yet.
have anything on the books. However, Neon Night, which is my primary establishment, we do shows every third Friday of the month. Josh
so.
always has to correct me on that one.
Color in reverse.
Yeah. Every third Friday of the month. We do something different every time. There will be pop-ups. Please go follow them at Neon Night Twin Cities.
I love that Neon Night does theme nights.
Yeah.
I love that because then you can actually get dressed up and like get into the vibe, like really get into it. And bring all your friends too. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I freaking loved it. Oh my God.
I loved it too.
That went well.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.